Heyo!
Hey big chitty furry demon that lives in my brain. But what's up with you?
There's a new E10 episode out people want you to review.
I honestly don't care at this point.
It's the one he credited you for as a writer.
Look, I don't... Wait, he fucking what? Well, time for the old quick way out.
Hang on a second. Do you really want to go out with people assuming you were partially responsible for this mess?
Yeah, good point. Well then everybody, welcome to the live review for the third episode of E10 Horizons. I don't want to be here any more than you do, so let's just get started. Let's have ourselves some fun. Alright, so the episode begins at a STEM college called Mariana Tech, in which college students are being entrusted with very dangerous chemicals to conduct an experiment that could change agriculture as we know it. Now you might be wondering why college students are being trusted to handle this. Like, regardless of whether or not they're at one of the top STEM colleges in the country. Because if you're a person... I'm sorry, did you need something, BB? Squeakers. Yeah, hold on a second. Cat. Of course, if you're the normal person, you're probably wondering, well, you know, why don't they just have actual scientists do this? Fuck it. Now, the professor warns them that they don't know what'll happen if you mix the ingredients correctly, and it could be hella dangerous. Well, just another reason to hand this project to college students, honestly. This is the best plan in the history of the universe, if you ask me. And so one of the chicks named Phoebe starts talking to her friend Selena about this guy named Jax, which is spelled Jaxx for whatever reason, which, first of all, Ethan, if you came up with that, don't. If you know someone like that, if you know someone in real life named Jax, do me a favor and tell them their name is shit, okay? Anyway, so they're talking about this Jax guy, because Phoebe's got a real big old lady boner for him, and so she goes to ask him out, but then this motherfucker named Ariana Grande comes in and Taco Blancos her. You like that little bit of lingo? I learned it in the Doki Doki Literature Club playthrough, which you should totally go watch right now. So anyways, Phoebe gets her clam jammed and has an anime reaction, which, you know, that's just par for the course for this show. And then Ariana's just acting like a bitch, even though they're in college. This is, I assume they're attempting to lampshade this line, hey, we're not in high school anymore, you don't have to treat her that way. But the problem with this line is that it indicates that if they were in high school, she would have to treat her that way. Which, that either just wasn't thought out very well, or that's just how Ethan thinks high school works. I'm not sure which one is more likely out of those two options. So, Phoebe gets angry, and she starts mixing the chemicals all wrong. She's messing with them, she's slapping them together, she's pouring them in the water, churning all the frogs gay, and then she gets them on herself, and it starts melting through her skin. And so they just kind of yeet her into the chemical shower, where she transforms into a big old murderous plant monster, and then it just fucking murders everybody. Fun fact about this scene, I was originally supposed to go into a lot more detail about everyone dying, like actually show it. The problem was, the problem I had specifically with it was that it was very incompetently edgy. I'm fine with edgy things, blood, gore, whatever. Especially during the month of Spooktober. That's just 10 out of 10, classy, love that shit. The problem is when it's done incompetently, and it just comes off as the 13-year-old emo kid down the street writing a revenge fan fiction about all his high school bullies. How did a 13-year-old emo kid get into high school? I don't know. Roll with me here. It's not like it makes any less sense than anything in this Effican episode. Efficing is a word. Heck you. So then we switch to the next day with Ethan and Alice, and Alice comes up behind Ethan and says, "Hey!" And Ethan's like, "Oh dear Jesus Christ, a female!" And so they talk some shit. Ethan's like, "Oh, I don't like fighting aliens all the time. It's boring. It's dumb. I don't like it. It wears me out. Wah 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 wah." And Alice is like, "Okay, that's neato, my dude, but did you hear about this fucking plant monster that killed people?" He's like, "No, I did not in fact hear about that." And so then Ethan decides, I should report this to Lieutenant Steele. But then the dumb scene happens. So he bumps into Terrence, the motherfucker from the first episode that he bumped into in the cafeteria, and so they're just bumping into each other. Is that a running gag? I hope not. So Terrence's line here, "Whatever you say, Stevie Wonder, maybe one of these days you'll do both of us a favor and not see a train coming." Now that line, that's the one part of this episode I actually had a hand in writing. Because the original line, this line ain't fantastic, okay? I'll admit that. But it at least makes sense. Do you want to know what the old line was? Well, too bad I can't remember, but let me tell you, it was a work of art. It was a modern masterpiece. You didn't even need the brain it cells it killed. You don't even need those. And we just get some stupid back and forth until Terrence accidentally turns Ethan into forearms, and then Terrence says this stupid shit. No, he's just some kind of cosplayer, which. Yeah, that whole thing could work for costume aliens, like fucking Fast Track, or whoever, but when it comes to forearms, who has 4 fucking arms, no, that kind of thing just doesn't work. Especially when you see him transform into it right in front of you. You can't, there's no instant dress cosplay technology, unless that is a thing in this world, which has not as of yet been established. And so then, this was another part I changed, not directly, I just told him that the original version was stupid. Originally, this thing said, Alice said, "And look at yourself, you shouldn't be judging other people's appearances." And I pointed out that was the stupidest thing I'd ever heard, because he was transformed into an alien. And, aliens aren't supposed to look pretty. And it's not like Four-Arms is an very ugly alien anyway. He's just a dude with 4 arms. And it's not like that's his default appearance in the first place. So the line was dumb. And so this line is still dumb, but at least it makes sense. And that's what a lot of the changes Ethan implements based on my suggestions come down to. Moving on, So Alice's line here, if you're going to react like that to others with that short fuse of yours, then you're proving to me that you're just like all the rest. Which, that is just such a pretentious line to say. I don't know how we're supposed to relate to Alice. Actually, let me correct that. This was written by Mr. Stereotypes himself, Ethan. Of course we're supposed to relate to Alice here. Because everyone he doesn't like is just a Chad or Veronica slut and getting gangbanged by Chad Thundercocks, who won't even give the nice gamers like him the chances they deserve. And so then Alice and Terrence are in the fucking art class or something. And Terrence, turns out Terrence is apparently a fucking botany nerd. Fucking nerd. Got him. And that's all that really matters from this interaction, except for the part where the plant monster comes in and starts screeching at people. That's mildly important, I guess. Alice calls up Ethan like, hey, but there's a plant monster here. Could you come take care of that or something? Okay, I love you, bye. And so then Ethan's like, yeah, sure. Hey, fuck it. I don't got nothing else better to do. And so then Ethan tries to turn to accelerate, but oh no, he gets goop instead. And so, how's he gonna get there? Well, how he gets there is he ups into the vents, which I'm sure will have absolutely no consequences on the actual ventilation system. Just leaving acidic slime and the thing that transmits air throughout the whole facility that people breathe. This is the best plan with no possible consequences. And so, Goop gets to the classroom, and he starts fighting the plant monster, like, this is what happens when you mess with a gamer. And so, he fights it off, and saves their asses. And then, a couple hours later, the police tape's there. Not the police, though, just the police tape. Who knows why? Nobody knows why. But Lieutenant Steele and his government agency is there, and he's talking to Ethan. He's like, okay, listen, Ethan, you got the watch, but you're a dum-dum, and you need to stay out of this. And I mean, of course, Ethan's like, no. And so then Alice and Ethan, they hop on over to Mariana check and to check it out, to do the look on the Scooby-Doo mystery side of things. And also Terrence is there because he got thrown across the room by the plant monster earlier, and he wants to get his revenge for being yeeted like that. For being yoked. And then we get this Jesus Christ. We get this line from Terrence. If I hadn't known better, I'd say you two were soulmates. Well, you know what, Terrence? Eat my ass, because Ethan is absolutely eating Alice's ass 24/7 in this. That's like the entire point of her character, dude. You're not smart for pointing this out, okay? You're just stating the obvious. Anyway, so they all sneak into the abandoned building, all Scooby and the gang style, and they find the science room where all this happened, and there are piles of dead corpses, and there are body parts, and there are plants, and, I mean, why wouldn't they be there? Why would a carnivorous plant monster eat its victims to live? No, that's dumb. Eat my entire ass. We need this horror scene set up. because fuck you. And so then this brilliant part of the episode happens where Terrence summons all of his botany knowledge and Rick and Morty thinking power. And he uses it to be like, we could probably make a cure for the plant monster using reverse enzymes and the common cold. And that's definitely how that works in real life, didn't you know? You ever fighting a plant monster? Just pull out a little rhinovirus, pull out a little AIDS. Pull out a little AIDS, just sprinkle some enzymes on there. Get a pineapple. Pineapples have enzymes. You just sprinkle some pineapple. You put the AIDS on the pineapple. In the pineapple, you fuck the pineapple to give it AIDS, and then you yeet it at the plant monster, and then voila, you've won the day. So then they hear a commotion, and they go down to the gymnasium, where it turns out Lieutenant Seal's sacked organization is there, and they're fighting the plant monster, and they're getting their asses kicked, and Ethan starts... Well, Ethan actually doesn't do anything until Terrence almost gets vored. But once Terrence almost gets vored, Ethan is like, time to kink shame. And he turns into Amphibian and kink shames the monster so hard it yeets Terrence again. And so Terrence and Alice, they go off to make the cure with their super science Rick and Morty powers that they can definitely do because they're college students, and all college students who are botany experts know how to reverse plant mutations. And that's not contrived in the slightest. Then we cut back to Amphibian fighting the plant monster and firing electromagnetic pulses at it, which, if you were just firing electricity at it, that would be one thing and that might do something. But an electromagnetic pulse, it's not a fucking phone, dude. You're not gonna do that much damage to it. And so then he pisses it off and it grows. Make my monster grow! And then Alice and Terrence, they finish the cure, and then they run back to the gymnasium, so then they, yeet it. They just kind of yeet the jar. But, damn it, they don't. It doesn't work. The plant monster knocks Alice over before she can eat it. And then Terrence jumps and he grabs the jar. And then Terrence yeets the jar at the monster, yoked. And, the thing, it works. It works. The plant monster turns back into the blonde girl, who I have to assume is naked after all this, because E10 and yeet. The day is done. Lieutenant Steele is angry. He's like, normally I'd give you a penalty, but you did the thing. Even though it wasn't actually you, it was your friend pal guys. But I'm still gonna say you did the thing and let you off with a warning this time, okay, Buster? And so then Lieutenant Steele's like, okay, this is great and all. We're just gonna kidnap this girl and take her to the lab and probably anal probe her. I don't know. This is E10. Who knows what could happen? And everyone's just okay with this. Does she have parents? Are they wondering where she is? Are do they even know what happened to her? Who knows? Who cares? This is E10. If it's not action time, it's not relevant. Am I right? And so the next day, Terrence and they're all back at their college, and Terrence comes in like, "Hey, I'm sorry for being a dick. That was my yeet. I hope you can forgive my dick tomfuckery." And so Ethan gives this line just to really make sure we know what kind of edgy boy we're dealing with here. He says, "So, deep down, you're hiding your true emotions too, aren't you?" And Terrence is like, "What the fuck?" Or at least that's how I would react, but no, Terrence just kind of does the eye widening thing, R.I.P. And so, they make up, they make out, they're friends, and Terrence joins the recurring cast. Yes! And so then we cut to the SACT headquarters, where Phoebe is sitting on a medical table, presumably still naked, because E10. And so, conveniently, it turns out the cure just kind of deactivated the genes, and she can still use them whenever she wants to turn into a plant monster at will, but, she can control it. So, that worked out pretty conveniently. And, all's well that ends well, except Lieutenant Steele actually reveals that they told the media she was killed and eaten by the plant monster. So, for all intents and purposes, everyone thinks she's dead. Why did he do this? Well, to cover up the events, of course, and they can't let her go because other organizations want vulnerabilities that nobody else knows about. And, it was totally necessary to, kidnap her and say, tell everyone she knew she was dead, because, it would cover up the events. How would it do that? I don't know, man. It would just cover them up. There's definitely no second option. We're totally just glossing over here. That's kidnapping a teenage girl and forcing her to be a child soldier, essentially, was clearly the only moral option in this scenario. Name Jeff. Fuck. And then Lieutenant Steele just tells her she wants her to be in the Avengers, and the episode ends. So that's gonna do it for today, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this, because I sure fucking didn't. I'm just gonna go die now. I wish. God, I wish. No, I'm just gonna start editing this video and upload it, so people can laugh at the funny memes. But hey, at least my equipment didn't fuck out on me this time, so there's that. See everybody, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Just shove it up your ass. And I'll see you later.